Have you ever been in the middle of writing something super important, and suddenly your pen just gives up? You look at it, and it's full of ink, but not a single drop will come out. It's one of the most frustrating little problems in modern life, right? Well, today, we're going to dive deep into the science behind why your perfectly good pen stopped working, and more importantly, what you can do about it. By the end of this video, you'll be a pen reviving master. So let's start with the basics. How does a pen even work? Most pens we use, like ballpoint pens, rely on a tiny rotating ball in the tip. As you write, this ball rolls, picking up ink from a reservoir inside the pen and transferring it onto the paper. It's a beautifully simple piece of engineering. The ink itself is specially designed to flow smoothly, but also dry quickly on the page. For this whole system to work, everything has to be just right. The ink's consistency, the force of gravity, and even air pressure. One of the biggest culprits behind a pen strike is the humble air bubble. Imagine an air bubble getting trapped in the ink cartridge. It acts like a roadblock, creating a gap that stops the ink from flowing down to the tip. No matter how much ink is left behind that bubble, the ball at the tip is left high and dry. This often happens if you shake your pen too vigorously or if it gets dropped. The sudden jolt can introduce air into the ink column, causing a blockage. Gravity also plays a huge role. Pens are designed to work with gravity pulling the ink downwards. If you try to write on a surface above your head, like on a piece of paper taped to the ceiling, your pen will stop working almost immediately. The ink simply can't flow upwards against gravity. This is also why storing your pens is so important. If you store them with the tip pointing up, gravity will slowly pull the ink away from the ballpoint, creating an air gap at the tip. Over time, the ink at the tip can dry out, and even when you turn it back over, the flow might not restart. The best way to store most pens is either lying flat or, even better, with the tip pointing down. Now, let's talk about the pen itself. Not all pens are created equal. We have ballpoint pens, gel pens, and rollerball pens, and they all behave a bit differently. Ballpoint pens use a thick oil-based ink. This ink is less likely to dry out quickly, but it's more prone to clogging if dust or tiny paper fibers get into the tip. The ball is held in a tiny socket, and if debris gets in there, it can jam the ball and stop it from rotating. Gel pens, on the other hand, use a water-based gel ink. This ink is thicker than rollerball ink, but thinner than ballpoint ink, which gives you that super smooth, vibrant line. The downside? This water-based ink can evaporate more easily. If you leave the cap off a gel pen for too long, the ink at the tip will dry out and form a hard plug, completely blocking the flow. Even with the cap on, if it's not airtight, the ink can slowly dry out over months or years. Rollerball pens also use a liquid water-based ink, similar to fountain pen ink. They deliver a very fluid, dark line, but they are the most susceptible to drying out. Leaving the cap off a rollerball for even a short time can be a death sentence for it. They are also more likely to leak if there are changes in air pressure, like on an airplane, because the liquid ink is more sensitive to pressure changes. So we have air bubbles, gravity, and drying out. But what about internal clogging? Sometimes, the problem isn't at the very tip, but a little further up inside. The ink itself can sometimes separate over time, with pigments or thickeners settling and creating a sludge that won't flow properly. This is more common in older pens or pens that have been exposed to extreme temperatures. Heat can make the ink too thin and cause it to leak, while cold can make it too thick and sludgy. Okay, so your favorite pen has stopped working. Don't throw it away just yet. Let's get to the good part, the hacks to bring it back to life. First, the simplest method, scribbling. Find a piece of scrap paper and try scribbling vigorously. Sometimes, all the pen needs is a little friction and movement to get the ball rolling and the ink flowing again. Try making circles, zigzags, and straight lines. You can also try writing on a slightly softer surface, like the rubber sole of a clean shoe or a stack of paper. The extra grip can help get the ball moving. If scribbling doesn't work, it's time to escalate. The next step is to tackle a potential air bubble. Tap the pen firmly, tip down, on a hard surface like a desk. This can help dislodge the air bubble and force the ink column to reconnect. You can also try the centrifuge method. Hold the pen securely and swing your arm in a fast, circular motion, like a windmill. The centrifugal force can push the ink down towards the tip, forcing out any air bubbles. Just make sure you have a firm grip on the pen, or it might go flying across the room. Still no luck. The problem might be a dried-out tip. We need to introduce a little heat and moisture. A very effective method is to use a lighter. Hold the very tip of the pen in the flame of a lighter for just a second or two. Be very careful here. You only want to heat the metal tip, not melt the plastic casing. The heat will melt the dry, clogged ink and should get it flowing again. Immediately after heating it, try scribbling on paper. You should see the ink start to flow. If you're not comfortable with a lighter, you can use hot water. Dip the tip of the pen in a cup of hot, not boiling, water for about a minute. Then dry it off thoroughly and try writing. For really stubborn clogs, especially in ballpoint pens, a solvent can work wonders. A little bit of rubbing alcohol is perfect. You can dip the tip of the pen in a small amount of alcohol or use a cotton swab soaked in alcohol to clean the tip. The alcohol will dissolve the thick, oily ink clog. After cleaning, wipe the tip dry and scribble to get it started. These revival techniques work for most common pen types, but remember to be gentle. You're working with a delicate mechanism, so why does this happen so often? Is it just bad luck? Well, sometimes it comes down to design and manufacturing. To keep costs down, some disposable pens are made with less than perfect seals or ink formulations that are more prone to separating or drying out. A tiny imperfection in the ball housing or a cap that doesn't seal properly can doom a pen from the start. Higher quality, more expensive pens often have better engineered tips, more stable ink, and airtight caps, which is why they tend to be more reliable over the long term. They might also feature pressurized ink cartridges, like the famous Fisher Space Pen, which can write upside down, underwater, and in extreme temperatures because they don't rely on gravity at all. In the end, a pen is a tiny, complex machine. When it works, it's a seamless extension of our thoughts. When it fails, it's a frustrating reminder of the delicate balance of physics and chemistry sitting in our hands. But now, you are armed with the knowledge to diagnose the problem and the skills to fix it. That rogue air bubble or dried up tip doesn't stand a chance. I hope you found this deep dive into the world of pens interesting and useful. Next time your pen quits on you, you'll know exactly what to do. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more videos coming up exploring the science behind everyday things. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.